Montana, the Big Sky Country. A land of raw beauty, untamed wilderness, and secrets buried deep in time. From eerie carvings hidden in sacred canyons, to massive flood scars carved by Ice Age cataclysms, to stone alignments some call Montana's own Stonehenge. For centuries, strange discoveries have challenged science, fueled legends, and left more questions than answers. Are these remnants of forgotten civilizations, natural wonders, or signs of something even stranger? Medicine Rocks, Montana's sacred sandstone enigma. Tucked away in the southeastern corner of Montana, near the small town of Eckalaka in Carter County, lies a hidden gem of both geological wonder and spiritual heritage, Medicine Rocks State Park. This remote and visually striking landscape is composed of towering sandstone formations that rise dramatically from the surrounding prairie. Carved by time and elements into arches, spires, and honeycombed pillars, these rocks hold not only natural beauty, but also deep cultural and spiritual significance. For centuries, Medicine Rocks has been a place of reverence, reflection, and mystery, making it one of Montana's most intriguing ancient sites. Geologically, the formations at Medicine Rocks date back approximately 60 million years to the Paleocene epoch. These sandstone outcrops were formed from sediment deposited by ancient rivers and later shaped by erosion. What remains today is a surreal, dreamlike terrain of soft, tan-colored rock that resembles something more at home in a science fiction film than on the American plains. The perforated and sculpted structures appear as though nature herself meticulously carved each crevice and arch, giving the area an almost cathedral-like presence. But beyond the physical beauty of the rock formations lies a deeper, more profound significance. Long before European settlers ever set foot in the region, indigenous tribes regarded Medicine Rocks as a sacred and spiritually powerful place. The site was used by several Plains tribes, including the Cheyenne, Crow, Sioux, Lakota, and Assiniboine. The very name, Medicine Rocks, derives from the indigenous concept of medicine, not in the modern medical sense, but as a term referring to spiritual power and supernatural energy. It was believed that the land itself held this power, concentrated, alive, and accessible to those who came seeking vision, guidance, or healing. According to oral traditions, Medicine Rocks was a place where warriors and holy people would go for vision quests, spiritual journeys involving fasting, prayer, and isolation. These quests were personal rites of passage and a means of receiving divine messages or insight into one's life path. The landscape, with its quiet isolation, strange rock formations, and expansive skies, provided a powerful setting for such introspective and mystical experiences. One of the most captivating aspects of Medicine Rocks is the abundance of petroglyphs, rock carvings and inscriptions that adorn many of the surfaces. These ancient images include animals, human figures, hunting scenes, and abstract geometric designs. While some of these carvings have been dated back hundreds of years and are clearly native in origin, others remain mysterious, with unknown creators and meanings. Some researchers suggest they may represent spiritual visions, tribal stories, or even astronomical markers, though no consensus has been reached. This ambiguity adds an air of mystery and depth, inviting speculation and study. Over time, as settlers moved westward in the 19th and early 20th centuries, they too left their mark on the rocks. Cowboys, travelers, and pioneers carved names and dates into the stone, sometimes right alongside ancient symbols. These newer inscriptions, while often considered graffiti, now form a visible historical record spanning centuries, blending sacred indigenous carvings with settler-era signatures. Though controversial, this layered history reflects the evolving human connection to the site. Despite its significance, Medicine Rocks remains relatively uncommercialized and lightly trafficked. It was designated a Montana State Park in 1957, and in 2017, it was added to the National Register of Historic Places as a traditional cultural property. This designation recognizes the area's importance to Native American spiritual practices and helps protect it from development and damage. The park encompasses about 330 acres and provides a quiet, respectful environment for hiking, wildlife observation, and quiet contemplation. The park is also home to diverse flora and fauna. Mule deer, eagles, hawks, and even occasional mountain lions inhabit the region. Old-growth juniper trees twist up among the rocks, and native grasses sway in the constant prairie breeze. The natural setting enhances the spiritual atmosphere, reinforcing the sense that one has stepped into a timeless space, far removed from the distractions of the modern world. Today, Medicine Rocks continues to be a place of spiritual and cultural significance. Members of local tribes still visit the area for prayer and ceremony, maintaining an unbroken connection to the sacred traditions of their ancestors. Visitors are encouraged to treat the land with respect, not just as a state park, but as a living cultural site. There are no flashing signs or major tourist attractions here, just the wind, the stone, and the stories etched into them. In a world often dominated by rapid change and noise, Medicine Rocks offers something rare: stillness, depth, and ancient continuity. Its soft, weathered stones speak of time's passage, of cultures long past and still present, and of the mysterious relationship between people and the land. Whether viewed through a geological, historical, or spiritual lens, Medicine Rocks stands as a reminder of how nature and humanity are forever intertwined. It is not merely a collection of curious rocks. It is a cathedral of memory and mystery, echoing the silent prayers of those who came before. The Bighorn Medicine Wheel, a sacred circle of stone and sky. High atop the Bighorn Mountains near the border of Montana and Wyoming lies one of North America's most enigmatic and sacred indigenous structures, the Bighorn Medicine Wheel. Located at nearly 10,000 feet elevation, this ancient stone monument is both a spiritual center and an astronomical mystery. Though it physically resides in Wyoming, the Medicine Wheel holds deep cultural significance for several Native American tribes in Montana, including the Crow, Cheyenne, Blackfeet, and Shoshone. For centuries, it has been a place of vision quests, ceremonial offerings, and quiet reverence. Today, it stands not only as an enduring link to indigenous cosmology, but also as a puzzle that has yet to be fully understood. The Bighorn Medicine Wheel consists of a large circular arrangement of stones approximately 80 feet in diameter, centered around a cairn with 28 spokes radiating outward. Around the perimeter are 6 smaller cairns, whose placements may have astronomical significance. The structure is estimated to be between 300 and 800 years old, though some researchers believe parts of it could be much older, potentially dating back over a millennium. Its builders are unknown, but it is likely the result of generational additions and reconstructions by indigenous peoples of the Northern Plains. The purpose of the Medicine Wheel is still debated among archaeologists, astronomers, and tribal historians. One of the most intriguing theories comes from archaeoastronomers who have studied the site in detail. In the 1970s, Jack Eddy, an astronomer, proposed that the wheel's cairns align with the rising and setting points of the sun and major stars, including Aldebaran, Rigel, and Sirius, as well as the summer solstice sunrise and sunset. The 28 spokes may also represent the lunar cycle. If accurate, this would position the wheel as a type of celestial observatory, crafted not with modern instruments, but with a deep knowledge of the sky passed through oral traditions and keen observation. While the astronomical interpretation adds scientific interest, for Native American tribes, the spiritual meaning of the Bighorn Medicine Wheel transcends measurement or analysis. The wheel is a sacred site for ceremonies, often used for prayer, fasting, and offerings. Tribes believe the structure is a place where the earthly and the spiritual realms intersect, where people can seek visions, guidance, or healing. The Medicine Wheel symbolizes the circle of life, the four directions, and the interconnectedness of all things, core concepts in many indigenous belief systems. Offerings such as tobacco ties, eagle feathers, beads, and prayer cloths are still regularly placed on the stones and surrounding fence. These offerings represent prayers or intentions, and their presence affirms that the site is not merely a historical artifact, but a living sacred space. Tribal members from Montana and surrounding states continue to visit and conduct traditional practices at the wheel, ensuring that its cultural vitality is preserved. Accessing the wheel is no easy task. Located in the Bighorn National Forest, visitors must hike a 1.5-mile trail from a parking area near the Bighorn Scenic Byway. The journey, however, enhances the sense of pilgrimage. As one ascends, the landscape opens up into alpine meadows and expansive vistas that stretch into Montana, providing an awe-inspiring backdrop to a site rooted in spiritual power and celestial mystery. The preservation of the Bighorn Medicine Wheel has been a collaborative effort between the U.S. Forest Service and multiple tribal nations. In 1996, the site was designated a National Historic Landmark and a Traditional Cultural Property, recognizing its dual value as a heritage site and a sacred place. Protective fencing and viewing areas were introduced to prevent damage while allowing respectful access for indigenous ceremonies and public education. Despite scientific studies, the wheel's original builders, exact age, and full purpose remain unknown, leaving room for both scholarly debate and spiritual interpretation. The blending of cosmological precision with cultural symbolism suggests that the wheel may have served multiple purposes: religious, astronomical, and social, all interwoven within a holistic worldview deeply attuned to nature and the cosmos. As modern society becomes increasingly detached from the natural cycles of the earth and sky, the Bighorn Medicine Wheel offers a humbling reminder of a time when people lived in close harmony with their environment. For the tribes of Montana and beyond, it remains a sacred marker of identity, heritage, and the enduring presence of the ancestors. For others, it is a powerful symbol of ancient knowledge and spiritual insight that transcends time and culture. In the end, the Bighorn Medicine Wheel is not meant to be fully solved. It invites contemplation, respect, and humility. Whether viewed through the lens of science, history, or spirituality, it continues to stir the imagination and the soul, standing as one of the most profound and enduring ancient mysteries of the American West. The Shonkin Sag, Montana's Ice Age mystery. Among the many dramatic landforms of Montana, the Shonkin Sag stands out, not only for its immense scale, but also for the enduring geological mysteries it presents. Carving a broad swath through the central Montana landscape, the Shonkin Sag is an ancient glacial meltwater channel, formed during the waning millennia of the last ice age. Though it now lies dry and silent, this massive geological feature hints at a time of tumultuous climatic transformation, when towering ice sheets and cataclysmic floods reshaped the earth. Larger than any modern river in the region, the Shonkin Sag remains a monument to forces of nature whose full impact we are still striving to comprehend. Stretching for over 100 miles across the northern edge of the Highwood Mountains and into the Missouri River Valley, the Shonkin Sag reaches widths of several miles in places and drops hundreds of feet below the surrounding plains. Its sheer scale defies immediate explanation. The channel is far too large to have been formed by any existing river system in Montana. Instead, it is a remnant of a time when ice sheets, thousands of feet thick, covered much of North America, and the melting of these glaciers released vast torrents of water, scouring the land with unstoppable force. The Shonkin Sag was most likely created during the Pleistocene epoch, the geological period spanning from about 2.6 million to 11,700 years ago. During the last glacial maximum, much of northern Montana was covered by the Laurentide ice sheet, a massive glacier that extended as far south as the Missouri River. As the climate began to warm, the glacier started to retreat, and enormous amounts of meltwater accumulated along its southern edge. At times, ice would act as a dam, forming massive proglacial lakes. One such body, Glacial Lake Great Falls, is believed to have formed near the area of present-day Great Falls, Montana. Eventually, these ice dams would fail, sometimes suddenly, releasing huge floods across the landscape. These glacial outburst floods, also known as yokolobs, unleashed unimaginable volumes of water, with flow rates far exceeding anything seen in modern rivers. It is these cataclysmic events that geologists believe carved the Shonkin Sag. Water from melting glaciers surged through this low-lying corridor, eroding rock, gouging deep channels, and transporting sediment across vast distances. Yet, despite decades of study, many aspects of the Shonkin Sag's formation remain unclear. For instance, scientists still debate the precise source of the water that carved the channel. Was it solely from Lake Great Falls, or did it include meltwater from other glacial lakes to the north or west? The volume of water required to shape such a massive feature also remains a subject of debate. Some estimates suggest flow rates rivaling those of the prehistoric Missoula floods, which reshaped the Pacific Northwest, though definitive comparisons are difficult due to the complex terrain and fragmented geological evidence. Adding another layer of intrigue to the Shonkin Sag is the presence of shonkinite, a rare and ancient volcanic rock found along parts of the Sag. This dark, coarse-grained igneous rock originates from one of the few known extrusions of shonkinite in North America, located in the Highwood Mountains. The presence of this unusual rock formation within the Sag has drawn the attention of geologists for over a century, offering clues about the region's volcanic history, in addition to its glacial past. Today, the Shonkin Sag appears as a broad, dry valley, its dramatic origin story hidden beneath the quiet grasslands and farmlands of central Montana. To the untrained eye, it may resemble a natural depression or an unusually large coulee. However, satellite imagery and topographic maps reveal its extraordinary scale and continuity. Though the channel now contains no significant river, it is a powerful reminder of the transient yet transformative forces of Ice Age geology. The region is of great interest, not only to professional geologists, but also to educators, students, and amateur scientists. Field trips and research projects frequently use the Shonkin Sag as a case study for understanding paleohydrology, glacial geology, and catastrophic flood events. As our understanding of climate change and its historical precedents deepens, sites like the Shonkin Sag offer invaluable insight into how Earth systems respond to rapid environmental shifts. In recent years, technologies such as LiDAR mapping, sediment analysis, and remote sensing have allowed researchers to reconstruct parts of the ancient landscape more accurately. These tools are helping to unravel the mysteries of the Shonkin Sag, offering a clearer picture of the massive and violent floods that once surged through it. Nevertheless, many questions remain, and each discovery often raises new puzzles, reinforcing the Sag's status as one of Montana's great natural enigmas. In conclusion, the Shonkin Sag is more than just a landform. It is a silent witness to a world transformed by ice, water, and time. It challenges our perceptions of geological change, revealing how brief moments in Earth's history can leave behind features that last for tens of thousands of years. As one of the largest and least understood glacial meltwater channels in North America, the Shonkin Sag continues to fascinate scientists and stir the imagination of anyone who walks along its vast and ancient floor. The Montana Megaliths, natural wonder or lost civilization. In the rugged mountains and deep forests near Helena, Montana, a series of unusual rock formations has sparked intense debate, intrigue, and even controversy. Known collectively as the Montana Megaliths, these massive stone structures have become the subject of competing narratives. One grounded in mainstream geology, the other in alternative archaeology. To some, the formations are simply natural outcrops shaped by erosion and time. To others, they represent the ruins of an ancient, technologically advanced civilization. lost to history, and forgotten by science. Regardless of where one stands, the Montana Megaliths remain one of the state's most talked about and mysterious sites. The term Montana Megaliths refers to a cluster of stone formations located in the Helena National Forest and surrounding areas, including sites with evocative names like Tizer Dolmen, Mothership, Sleeping Giant, and Bigfoot Ridge. Many of these formations feature massive stone blocks, some appearing to be stacked or aligned in deliberate patterns. Some observers claim the rocks show signs of tool marks, geometric symmetry, and faces or figures carved into stone, evidence, they argue, of intelligent design. Fringe researchers and independent explorers have seized on these features to suggest that the Montana megaliths are the remnants of a prehistoric civilization, possibly one predating known indigenous cultures. Some have even speculated that the structures are over 10,000 years old, built by a lost global culture that left similar monuments across the planet. Comparisons are frequently drawn to the megalithic sites of Europe, South America, and Egypt, with claims that Montana could be home to its own version of Stonehenge or Göbekli Tepe. Much of the current interest in the Montana megaliths stems from the work of Julie Ryder, an independent researcher who has documented the sites through photographs, videos, and written reports. Ryder contends that the formations show clear evidence of artificial construction and advanced knowledge of astronomy, geometry, and sacred geometry. Her theories have gained traction among communities interested in alternative history, New Age beliefs, and ancient alien hypotheses. However, the claims surrounding the Montana megaliths have met with strong skepticism from mainstream archaeologists, geologists, and scientists. According to professionals, the formations are most likely the result of natural geological processes, including frost wedging, erosion, and tectonic fracturing. Montana's landscape is known for its dramatic geology, shaped by volcanic activity, glacial movement, and centuries of weathering. The Helena Formation, in particular, contains layers of sedimentary and metamorphic rock, prone to breaking into angular shapes that can mimic man-made features. Experts argue that the appearance of symmetry or alignment in these rock formations does not necessarily indicate intentional design. The human brain is wired to recognize patterns, a phenomenon known as pareidolia, which can lead us to perceive faces, figures, or structures in random natural features. Similar misinterpretations have occurred at other geological sites, where weathered rocks are mistaken for ancient ruins or sculptures. Despite the skepticism, the Montana megaliths continue to attract attention, both from curious tourists and from proponents of alternative history. The internet has played a crucial role in amplifying interest, with videos, blogs, and social media posts showcasing the dramatic imagery and provocative theories. While these ideas are not supported by peer-reviewed research or academic institutions, they contribute to a larger cultural fascination with hidden history and the possibility that mainstream science has overlooked important clues about our past. From a cultural perspective, the debate over the Montana megaliths reflects broader tensions between institutional knowledge and independent inquiry. On one hand, rigorous scientific methodology relies on repeatable evidence, peer review, and consensus building. On the other, independent researchers often argue that innovation and discovery come from questioning authority and exploring unconventional ideas. The Montana megaliths sit at this intersection, a battleground between science and speculation. What remains undisputed is that the region around Helena is geologically rich and visually striking. Whether natural or man-made, the formations possess a powerful aesthetic and symbolic presence. Many visitors describe the sites as peaceful, energetic, or even sacred, regardless of their origin. Some indigenous communities also hold the land as spiritually significant, though they do not associate the formations with the ancient civilizations proposed by fringe theories. As of now, no formal archaeological excavation has been conducted at the sites associated with the Montana Megaliths. Without systematic study, the claims of ancient construction remain unverified. However, the ongoing interest may one day prompt deeper investigation, either to confirm a natural origin or to uncover something unexpected beneath the surface. In conclusion, the Montana megaliths remain an open-ended mystery. For mainstream scientists, they are examples of striking but natural geology. For alternative theorists, they are tantalizing clues to a forgotten chapter of human history. And for many visitors, they are simply places of beauty, wonder, and possibility. In the absence of definitive answers, the Montana megaliths invite us to ask bigger questions about the past, the limits of knowledge, and the stories the land itself might be trying to tell. Pictograph Cave State Park, Montana's ancient canvas of mystery. Just a few miles southeast of Billings, Montana, lies a site of quiet beauty and profound archaeological significance. Pictograph Cave State Park. Nestled within a sandstone bluff overlooking the Yellowstone Valley, this park is home to a series of rock shelters adorned with over 100 ancient pictographs, some of which are estimated to be more than 2,000 years old. These vivid images, painted in red, light, and black mineral pigments, provide a rare and evocative window into the distant past. Yet, despite decades of study, many questions about the site's origins, the people who painted the symbols, and the meanings behind them remain unanswered. As a result, Pictograph Cave continues to stand as one of Montana's most fascinating and enduring historical enigmas. Pictograph Cave State Park encompasses 3 distinct caves: Pictograph, Middle, and Ghost Caves, though the bulk of archaeological interest centers on Pictograph Cave itself. The cave walls are adorned with images depicting animals, human figures, shields, and abstract symbols. The red-colored bison, ghostly silhouettes, and enigmatic lines drawn across the cave wall offer hints of the people who lived, hunted, and worshipped in this region long before recorded history. However, most of these images were created without any accompanying written language or contextual explanation, making interpretation both challenging and speculative. Carbon dating and archaeological excavations suggest that human occupation of the caves spans thousands of years. Artifacts uncovered at the site include stone tools, fire pits, bone fragments, shell beads, and even weapons, all pointing to a long and continuous use of the caves as shelter and ceremonial space. Some of the oldest artifacts date back over 4,500 years, while the pictographs themselves are believed to have been created between 2,000 and 250 years ago, likely by ancestors of modern Native American tribes. The identity of the cave artists is still a matter of scholarly debate, though the Crow, Cheyenne, and other Northern Plains tribes all hold oral traditions connected to the region. Some researchers believe that the caves may have been used as a spiritual site for vision quests, where individuals would seek contact with the spirit world through isolation and fasting. The pictographs may represent visions seen during such quests, hunting magic intended to summon game animals, or tribal records of battles and ceremonies. Yet, without a definitive cultural or linguistic key to decode the symbols, these interpretations remain hypotheses. Adding to the intrigue is the lack of continuity in the imagery. Unlike many ancient art sites where themes remain consistent, the pictographs in Pictograph Cave reflect a variety of artistic styles, pigment types, and symbolic elements. This diversity may suggest that multiple cultural groups used the cave over time, each leaving their own visual legacy. Alternatively, it could point to evolving spiritual or cultural practices within the same community. Either way, the result is a palimpsest of human expression layered across the stone canvas. The site first drew scientific attention in the 1930s, when archaeologists conducted extensive excavations and preservation efforts. These early digs unearthed over 30,000 artifacts, making Pictograph Cave one of the most important archaeological sites in Montana. However, early excavation methods were not always as precise as modern techniques, and some context may have been lost. Today, the site is protected and monitored, with a focus on conservation and education rather than excavation. In 1964, the area was officially designated a state park, and it was later listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Today, the park includes a visitor center with interpretive displays, a walking trail that leads past the caves, and educational signage that introduces guests to the site's history and cultural significance. Despite the park's small size, just 23 acres, it offers a profound and contemplative experience for those who walk its trails and gaze upon its ancient artwork. Pictograph Cave continues to attract archaeologists, historians, and indigenous communities who view the site not just as a historical artifact, but as a living symbol of cultural identity. Tribal members, particularly from the Crow Nation, have expressed that the cave holds spiritual significance, even if the meanings of the paintings have been partially lost to time. As such, the park serves not only as a public heritage site, but also as a place of cultural reverence. The preservation of Pictograph Cave remains an ongoing challenge. Natural erosion, temperature fluctuations, and human activity have all taken their toll on the fragile pigments and rock surfaces. Conservation efforts now focus on minimizing further damage, while allowing the public to continue experiencing the site in a respectful and informed manner. In conclusion, Pictograph Cave State Park is far more than a collection of prehistoric drawings. It is a profound testament to the lives, beliefs, and artistic expressions of Montana's earliest inhabitants. The mysterious images etched in stone continue to inspire awe, curiosity, and respect, even as their full meanings elude modern understanding. As both a cultural touchstone and an archaeological treasure, Pictograph Cave invites us to look back across millennia and remember that the desire to leave a mark, to tell a story, and to seek meaning in the world is as ancient as humanity itself. The Ghost Ship of the Missouri River, Montana's Phantom Omen. In the realm of Montana's ancient mysteries, few tales stir the imagination like that of the Ghost Ship of the Missouri River. A chilling legend whispered across generations, this spectral steamboat is said to appear without warning, gliding silently through the mist along the Missouri's currents. With no oarsmen, no steam, and no earthly explanation, the ghost ship has been described as an omen of death or disaster, haunting the waters between Fort Benton and the Great Falls. While no physical evidence of its existence has ever been found, the story has persisted for well over a century, rooted in Native American oral traditions, reinforced by settler accounts, and carried forward by the modern fascination with the paranormal. The first recorded sightings of the ghost ship date back to the 19th century, during the era of Montana's frontier expansion. As the Missouri River became a critical transportation route for fur traders, gold miners, and settlers, river traffic increased, especially with the rise of steamboat travel. Amid these rugged voyages, stories began to emerge of an ethereal paddle wheeler, enveloped in fog, that would appear and vanish just as quickly, often leaving witnesses unnerved or speechless. Descriptions of the vessel vary in detail, but share common traits. An old-fashioned steamboat, often lit with a spectral glow, appearing on calm nights or during storms, and traveling silently against the current. The most disturbing aspect of these sightings is the pattern of ill fate said to follow them. Witnesses often reported that shortly after seeing the ghost ship, someone in their party, or even in the nearby community, would fall ill, suffer a fatal accident, or experience some catastrophic misfortune. Thus, the ghost ship gained a reputation not just as a curiosity, but as an omen of death. One of the most enduring legends involves a sighting near Fort Benton, Montana's historic river port. According to local lore, a crewman claimed to see the ghostly steamer drifting downstream one foggy evening. Within days, an outbreak of disease swept through the camp, claiming several lives. Though unverifiable, this and similar stories became embedded in regional folklore, passed down from family to family and retold in hushed tones around firesides. The legend is not solely confined to settler accounts. Native American tribes, particularly the Blackfeet and Gros Ventre, have their own stories of spiritual canoes or boats carrying the souls of the dead. In some interpretations, the ghost ship is viewed not as a Western-style steamboat, but as a spirit vessel ferrying the deceased across the river to the afterlife. This spiritual dimension adds further depth to the mystery and suggests that the roots of the legend may predate European settlement altogether. Skeptics, of course, argue that the ghost ship can be explained through a combination of natural phenomena and psychological projection. Fog, moonlight, and reflections on water can easily distort perception, especially in the isolation of the wilderness. Steamboats were a common feature of the Missouri River in the 1800s, and the image of one could linger in the collective memory, reinforced by stress, superstition, or even exhaustion. The mind, primed by expectation or fear, could project such visions in moments of heightened emotion or environmental distortion. Others point to the power of folklore itself. In communities where death was a frequent and often sudden reality, due to disease, harsh winters, or violent encounters, stories like the ghost ship offered a way to process grief, fate, and the unpredictability of life. By turning tragedy into legend, people gave meaning to the incomprehensible and found a narrative structure to anchor their fears. Yet, despite these rational explanations, sightings of the ghost ship have continued well into the 20th century, albeit less frequently. Reports have surfaced from fishermen, hikers, and river guides claiming to see something strange on the water, often accompanied by an eerie silence and a sense of foreboding. The absence of physical evidence, far from debunking the myth, seems only to enhance its status as an unresolvable enigma. After all, true ghost stories often endure, not because they are provable, but because they resist explanation. Today, the ghost ship of the Missouri River lives on in local lore, ghost tours, and regional storytelling, a permanent fixture in Montana's shadowy folklore. It occupies a unique place in the state's tapestry of ancient mysteries, straddling the line between legend and legacy, history and imagination. For those drawn to the mystical or the macabre, the ghost ship serves as a reminder that some stories linger as long as the rivers that carry them. In conclusion, the ghost ship of the Missouri River may never be proven real in the scientific sense, but in the cultural imagination of Montana, it is as real as the river itself. Whether a trick of light, a symbol of death, or a spiritual echo of ages past, the ghost ship continues to haunt the current of both water and memory. It is a story that refuses to fade, and perhaps that is its true power. A mystery that floats just beyond reach, forever part of the river's flow. The Anaconda Copper Mine Anomalies, unearthing geological and historical mysteries. Montana is a state rich with history, mineral wealth, and geological wonder. At the heart of this convergence lies the Anaconda Copper Mine, once a symbol of American industrial might, and now a site surrounded by speculation and intrigue. Though it was one of the world's largest copper producers, recent attention has shifted from its economic impact to the geological anomalies it has revealed. As mining operations dug deep into the earth, they unearthed formations that challenge conventional explanations. Unusual rock patterns, ancient seeming structures, and stratigraphic oddities that have puzzled geologists and captivated alternative researchers alike. These discoveries have given rise to theories ranging from misunderstood geological processes to claims of prehistoric civilizations buried beneath the surface. Whether these anomalies reflect natural forces or lost chapters of human history, the Anaconda Mine presents a compelling case study in how mystery can emerge from even the most industrial landscapes. At its operational peak in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the Anaconda Mine was a powerhouse of copper extraction. Located in the mountainous region of western Montana, it formed the backbone of the Anaconda Copper Mining Company, one of the most powerful industrial entities of its time. However, as the mine expanded, workers and geologists alike began noticing peculiar features in the exposed rock. Some of these included deeply folded strata, vertically oriented sedimentary layers, and unusual mineral formations that did not align with expected geological patterns. These anomalies sparked debate. Were these simply the result of Montana's complex geological history, or did they suggest something more profound? Mainstream geologists explain these formations through the region's known geologic context. The Anaconda area lies within the boulder batholith, a massive body of igneous rock formed during intense volcanic and tectonic activity in the late Cretaceous period. Over millions of years, hydrothermal processes, crustal shifting, and metamorphic transformation have produced complex, even chaotic, layering in the rock. The use of heavy mining equipment and explosives may have further distorted the rock's natural orientation, creating fractures and alignments that resemble intentional patterns. According to scientific consensus, these apparent anomalies are the result of a high-energy environment, not the remnants of ancient engineering or lost civilizations. Yet, not all observers are satisfied with these explanations. Some independent researchers and alternative theorists argue that certain formations within the mine defy what natural geology alone can produce. Reports from early miners and visitors describe angular stone blocks, honeycomb-like rock grids, and tool-mark-like striations in otherwise solid bedrock. These features, according to proponents of alternative theories, resemble man-made structures, perhaps the collapsed ruins of a prehistoric civilization that once thrived in North America long before known indigenous cultures. Some even speculate that these anomalies point to a technologically advanced society lost to cataclysm or time, suggesting Montana's mountains may hold secrets akin to the legends of Atlantis. Adding weight to these theories are unsubstantiated local legends about strange objects discovered during early excavations, items that were allegedly removed and never cataloged. While no verified records of such artifacts exist, the secrecy surrounding mining operations in the early 20th century leaves room for speculation. These stories, passed down through local folklore, contribute to the site's aura of mystery. As with many unexplained phenomena, the lack of evidence is interpreted by believers not as disproof, but as further indication of a cover-up or forgotten truth. The tension between scientific skepticism and speculative interpretation reflects a broader cultural dynamic. On one side are geologists, committed to empirical data and cautious theorizing, who view the anomalies as quirks of an unusually dynamic geological environment. On the other side are those driven by curiosity and a sense of historical possibility, who see these features as hints of a deeply buried narrative waiting to be uncovered. In between lie the many people drawn to the site, not by science or conspiracy, but by the sheer aesthetic and symbolic power of these rock formations, symbols of both the Earth's natural history and its mysterious potential. Whether one views the Anaconda anomalies as geological puzzles or ancient relics, there is no doubt that they invite further study. As new technologies, such as 3D subsurface mapping, LiDAR, and mineral spectroscopy, become more accessible, future researchers may gain new insights into the structures hidden beneath Anaconda's surface. These tools could offer more definitive answers about the formation of the rock layers, and potentially settle long-standing debates about whether what appears man-made is truly natural. In conclusion, the Anaconda copper mine anomalies illustrate how even industrial landscapes can become crucibles of mystery. What was once solely a place of extraction has become a focal point for questions about Earth's deep past and humanity's possible role in shaping it. While mainstream science continues to offer plausible geological explanations, alternative theories remind us of the limits of current understanding and the human desire to uncover stories hidden in stone. Regardless of the true origins of these anomalies, they have succeeded in transforming a historic mine into a modern enigma, one that challenges how we perceive history, nature, and the blurred lines between the two. The creepy carvings of the Pryor Mountains. Symbols beyond time. Tucked away in the remote and rugged landscape of southern Montana, the Pryor Mountains rise like ancient sentinels above the plains. This limestone range is more than just a geographic marvel. It is a place steeped in mystery, spirituality, and enduring questions. Among its many enigmatic features are a series of strange, deeply etched carvings in rock faces, often described as more complex, eerie, or ambiguous than typical Native American petroglyphs found elsewhere in the region. Referred to by some as the creepy carvings of the Pryor Mountains, these images have intrigued archaeologists, puzzled visitors, and held sacred meaning for indigenous communities, especially the Crow Nation, for generations. The Crow people, Apsaluke, who have inhabited the area for centuries, consider the Pryor Mountains a sacred landscape, central to their cultural and spiritual traditions. These mountains are not only places of physical refuge, but also sites for vision quests, healing ceremonies, and communion with the spirit world. Many of the carvings found in the area are intimately tied to these practices, symbols of spiritual experiences, or records of journeys undertaken by individuals seeking guidance from supernatural forces. Yet, not all of the carvings align neatly with Crow iconography or oral history, leading some to believe that the origins of certain petroglyphs may predate even the Crow occupation of the region. The carvings themselves range widely in style and content. Some depict animal figures, anthropomorphic shapes, and spirals, common themes across many indigenous rock art traditions. Others, however, seem anomalous. Visitors and amateur researchers have noted carvings with unusually deep grooves, abstract or geometric patterns not easily linked to tribal symbology, and faces or humanoid forms that appear distinctly different from traditional Plains art. Some images are described as unsettling, even creepy, hence the name often used to describe them. One particularly puzzling example includes a humanoid figure with disproportionately large eyes and elongated limbs, carved in a style that does not match other rock art traditions of the American West. Another features a series of interlocking triangles and boxy glyphs, resembling architectural blueprints more than shamanic iconography. While it is difficult to determine the exact age of these carvings, due to erosion and the lack of organic material for radiocarbon dating, some researchers have speculated that they could be thousands of years old, potentially created by earlier cultures now lost to history. From a mainstream archaeological perspective, the Pryor Mountains and their carvings are part of a rich indigenous cultural landscape, one that includes both spiritual significance and long-term habitation. Archaeologists working in the area have identified multiple campsites, burial sites, and trails, indicating that the mountains have served as a crossroads for many tribes over millennia, including the Crow, Shoshone, and other pre-contact peoples. Rock art, in this context, is often interpreted as a form of communication, spiritual recording, or territorial marking. However, some of the more enigmatic carvings resist easy categorization. This has led to a range of alternative theories. Fringe researchers have proposed connections to prehistoric lost civilizations, extraterrestrial contact, or even Atlantean survivors, claiming that the stranger carvings show signs of advanced geometry or iconography inconsistent with local traditions. These theories remain unsubstantiated and are typically dismissed by the academic community, but they reflect a broader human fascination with symbols we do not fully understand. What adds complexity to the story is the way these carvings are integrated, or not, into local indigenous traditions. While many Crow elders recognize the spiritual importance of the carvings, some also acknowledge that certain symbols feel foreign or outside the bounds of known oral history. This has led to the belief that some images could have been left by earlier inhabitants, the memory of whom has faded from the cultural record. Whether these were ancestors of today's tribes or entirely distinct peoples is unknown. Despite the interest, many of the carvings remain inaccessible or undocumented, hidden deep in the mountain canyons or on private or tribal lands. This inaccessibility has both protected and obscured them, limiting academic research while allowing folklore and speculation to flourish. Efforts to document the carvings are also tempered by the need to respect indigenous sovereignty and cultural protocols, which justifiably prioritize spiritual preservation over scientific inquiry. Ultimately, the creepy carvings of the Pryor Mountains offer a compelling blend of archaeological mystery and spiritual depth. They are a reminder that not all history can be easily decoded, and that some symbols resist reduction to data points or neat narratives. Whether created by ancient tribes, unknown peoples, or misunderstood cultural processes, these carvings challenge our understanding of the region's past and invite deeper reflection on the nature of meaning, memory, and mystery. The ancient Lake Missoula floods, Montana's Ice Age deluge, and its enduring mysteries. During the last Ice Age, approximately 15,000 to 13,000 years ago, the landscape of western Montana was dominated by a vast body of water, now known as Glacial Lake Missoula. Held back by a towering ice dam more than half a mile high, this lake covered much of present-day Missoula Valley and extended across several thousand square miles. When that ice dam periodically failed, it unleashed one of the most catastrophic flood events in Earth's history, a phenomenon so powerful and large-scale that it reshaped vast stretches of the Pacific Northwest. Known collectively as the Missoula floods, these events are now recognized as one of the most important geological processes of the Pleistocene epoch. Yet, despite decades of study, significant mysteries remain about the frequency, scale, and broader climatic implications of these ancient floods. The existence of Glacial Lake Missoula was first proposed in the early 20th century by geologist J. Harlan Bretz, who had been investigating the unusual topography of eastern Washington and Oregon. He identified massive ripple marks, dry canyons known as coulees, and scablands carved into basalt bedrock, features that he believed could only have been created by a sudden, massive influx of water. Initially met with skepticism, Bretz's theory gained support as evidence mounted for the existence of an enormous glacial lake in western Montana. Geologist Joseph Pardee later confirmed that such a lake had existed and likely released up to 500 cubic miles of water in each outburst, enough to fill Lake Erie and Lake Ontario combined. The ice dam that restrained Lake Missoula was formed by the encroachment of the Cordilleran ice sheet, a continental glacier that extended from western Canada into the northern United States. When the dam failed, the water burst forth at speeds approaching 60 miles per hour, with peak flow rates estimated at 10 times the combined flow of all modern rivers on Earth. The floods carved immense canyons, displaced boulders the size of small houses, and deposited thick layers of silt and sediment across what are now Washington, Oregon, and northern Idaho. One of the most fascinating aspects of these floods is that they did not occur just once. Geological evidence suggests that Glacial Lake Missoula filled and drained repeatedly, possibly dozens of times over a span of several thousand years. These cycles of flooding and refilling raise profound questions about the stability of the ice dam and the climatic conditions that triggered each failure. Did warming trends weaken the glacier cyclically, or were other forces, such as geothermal activity or glacial earthquakes, responsible for these dramatic collapses? The scale and frequency of these floods remain areas of active research and debate. While early models suggested only a few floods, more recent sedimentological evidence, such as layered silt deposits known as varves near Missoula and the Tuchet beds in Washington, indicate many more episodes. Some studies suggest that the floods occurred roughly every 30 to 70 years, while others argue for more irregular intervals. Understanding the rhythm of these events is key to reconstructing Ice Age climate patterns and glacial behavior, which in turn informs models of future glacial meltwater risks as modern ice sheets retreat. Despite the increasing clarity of the basic geological narrative, several mysteries persist. One is the mechanism of dam failure. While melting seems an obvious cause, some researchers have pointed to the possibility of subglacial water pressure building up beneath the ice dam until it lifted and failed catastrophically, a process analogous to modern-day Jökulhlaups in Iceland. Another unresolved issue is the true scale of the flooding. Some flood paths suggest that water flowed not only through the Columbia River basin, but also through alternative channels, hinting at flood volumes even greater than current models accommodate. Even more enigmatic are the giant ripple marks preserved near Camas Prairie, Montana. These underwater dunes, some reaching 50 feet high and hundreds of feet apart, are visible from the air and represent some of the most dramatic direct evidence of the floodwater's power. Their sheer size challenges our understanding of how fast and deep the water must have been. Likewise, the presence of large ice-rafted boulders, found hundreds of miles from their origins, provides further evidence of the awesome forces at play during these floods. The Lake Missoula floods were not only destructive, but also transformative. They created new ecosystems, carved out river valleys, and deposited fertile soils that support agriculture in the Pacific Northwest to this day. Their legacy also stretches into modern fields of climate science, hydrology, and disaster modeling, serving as a natural laboratory for understanding how sudden glacial melt events can reshape continents and alter climates. The Montana Stonehenge legends, circles in the shadows of history. In the realm of American folklore and unsolved mysteries, Montana holds a quiet but compelling entry. Stories of mysterious circular stone alignments hidden deep in its vast wilderness. Often referred to as the Montana Stonehenge, these alleged formations evoke comparisons to England's iconic prehistoric monument, not because of their size or construction, but due to the mystery, astronomical associations, and spiritual interpretations that surround them. While no formally verified site has ever been documented, the legend persists through anecdotal reports, amateur expeditions, and a growing archive of digital age speculation. What emerges is not so much a confirmed archaeological site, but a cultural phenomenon reflecting humanity's ongoing fascination with the ancient, the unexplained, and the sacred geometry of the natural world. The origin of the Montana Stonehenge legend is difficult to trace, largely because it is rooted in oral reports, fragmented stories, and unverified claims. Over the years, hikers, hunters, and backcountry explorers have described stumbling upon arrangements of stones in circles, spirals, or radial patterns, often on remote hillsides or forest clearings. These formations are said to feature standing stones, some chest height, others much smaller, arranged with uncanny precision. Some storytellers insist the stones align with celestial events, such as the solstices or equinoxes, lending the sites a possible astronomical or ceremonial function. Others describe eerie silence, strange electromagnetic readings, or an inexplicable sense of unease upon visiting these locations. Though these claims are generally unsupported by physical evidence or peer-reviewed archaeological research, they continue to attract amateur archaeologists, spiritual seekers, and alternative history enthusiasts. Websites, blogs, and online forums are filled with photos of suspiciously arranged rocks, GPS coordinates to possible sites, and theories ranging from prehistoric native rituals to ancient extraterrestrial visitors. In many cases, however, professional archaeologists have not been able to verify the legitimacy of these claims, leading most in the academic community to treat them with cautious skepticism. Despite the lack of official recognition, the legend may be loosely tied to Montana's genuine prehistoric and Native American heritage, which includes rock circles and alignments. The Plains tribes, including the Blackfeet, Crow, and Shoshone, created stone tipi rings, medicine wheels, and vision quest sites, many of which involved placing rocks in deliberate patterns. Some of these structures date back hundreds or even thousands of years, though they were typically more modest and symbolic in function than megalithic constructions like Britain's Stonehenge. It is possible that some of the so-called Montana Stonehenges are misidentified indigenous sites or natural rock formations that happen to exhibit some semblance of pattern. The human brain is highly susceptible to pareidolia, the tendency to see patterns or meaning in random arrangements. In this light, A collection of naturally fallen stones or glacial erratics may be interpreted as intentional structures, especially when encountered in isolated and emotionally charged settings. Still, some aspects of the reports are difficult to dismiss outright. In a few cases, stone arrangements have reportedly been found at high elevations or remote areas where human activity, modern or ancient, would be challenging. Some photographs show upright stones partially buried and balanced in ways that suggest intentional placement. Though none of these findings have been conclusively proven or accepted by professional archaeologists, they keep the mystery alive, prompting calls for more structured investigations. The enduring allure of the Montana Stonehenge legends may have less to do with physical evidence and more with what they symbolize. These stories tap into a primal human fascination with ancient wisdom, hidden histories, and the idea that forgotten civilizations may have once understood things we have yet to rediscover. Whether imagined or real, stone circles represent a connection to cosmic cycles, the natural landscape, and human consciousness. In this way, the legend becomes a cultural artifact in itself, part of the larger tapestry of Montana's mystical and archaeological identity. From a sociological perspective, the rise of interest in such sites can be linked to broader cultural trends: disenchantment with modernity, the search for spiritual authenticity, and the blending of science with myth in the digital age. As people spend more time in online spaces, they are also drawn to physical places that offer mystery and transcendence. The Montana wilderness, with its remote mountains, ancient geology, and sparse population, serves as an ideal canvas for this kind of modern myth-making.